Here we go, Natalie.
Hello.
Hello, how are you doing? Thank you
I'm
for joining me.
great. Thank you for having me. This is so exciting.
It's awesome. Yeah, this is the first one I've done in a while, and I can't think of anyone better to get back into doing podcasts with than with you, who I told this, but I was so nervous to talk to at Obsess Fest when I saw you.
Oh my goodness, don't be nervous. I've been hearing that a lot, and I think it's because at all of our events, I probably look super stressed and I'm running around, but you can always stop me and say hello.
Well, I'm glad I can, but it wasn't just you. It was I think it was everybody else too.
Yeah, yeah,
At least all the women of Obsess Network.
yeah. It was
Be-
a big event. It was a lot of people. It was very overwhelming, very intimidating, even for us. So,
Yeah, but I like Jillian's a perfect example. We saw her. We were all hanging out at the hotel bar like the night before,
yeah.
and then me and my friend Katie, who I was with, like, we were like, let's go. Like Jillian came down, and we're like, let's go wait to say hi to Jillian. And then we got our point. Jillian turned and looked at me. I'm like, um, I love you. Hi.
Yeah.
And so
I know it's intimidating, but I have to say everyone on the network is so nice and just loves the fans, so you can always say hi to us.
yeah, yeah, but for anyone who maybe listening, I know a lot of people in the Obsessed Network family, I'll call it, is going to probably listen. But for those who don't know, you are a producer with one of perhaps my favorite podcast network, like my favorite group of podcasts, the Obsessed Network. And yeah, I mean, what is it? Why don't you tell everyone a little bit of what you do there? And
Yeah,
you know,
definitely. So it was so funny because Patrick hired me during the pandemic and we had worked together previously. And so he reached out and said, "Are you working? I want to hire you." And I had actually just been let go from my job. So I was like, "Yes, I would love to." And we started and we were kind of figuring out my role. So I started in like more of a marketing capacity and then moved up into sort of like a director of projects capacity. So now I'm the VP of operations. And so I manage the production schedules across all of the network shows. So right now it's True Crime Obsessed, I Think Not, Strange and Unexplained, and Crimes of the Centuries. And then in addition to all of that, I'm also, managing and planning Obsessed Fest. So we have a great events team, but it's my job to, kind of handle all of the programming.
yeah, I gotta say, I mean, we talked a little bit about Obsessed Fest up top here, but that is incredible. I'm just blown away by how how well the first year came to like it was Patrick's idea, and
Yes.
it was him along with you and his husband Steve who primarily put it together. And for someone who's never done this, for someone who had never done this before, and just like the way it all came together, and I mean, there were, I don't want to say like it didn't go flawless. I mean, it went great. There were some like learning lessons there, but for a first year con, it was incredible what you guys managed to pull off.
Yeah, thank
So
you for saying that because it was definitely, yeah, Patrick came in one day in the office and just had this idea. And then as it goes with his ideas, this is one of the things I love about him is he has an idea and he doesn't wait to, execute it. Like we're just in go mode. So we had about a year to plan it. We worked with Mischief Management, this amazing events company, but it was a lot of work and Patrick loves to tell this story, but it was actually the second day of the con that he saw me in the morning and I was like having a panic attack because I thought to myself, this is happening. This could all go wrong at any point. Like it was just a little overwhelming, but I was so happy with how everything turned out.
and yeah, I mean, and Patrick has told like these stories on podcasts before, but he's had plenty of ideas. He'll do it for like 2 days and then just be like, okay, I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
But for some like planning an entire convention, weekend long convention,
Mhm.
I mean, I have no idea the work it takes to put into it, but you pulled it off, and it was an incredible experience. And year two is going to be year one was in Columbus, which wasn't far from me, so it was easy for me to go to.
Oh, good.
Year two is going to be in Dallas, and I mean I've already got everything booked, my hotel, flight, tickets, everything. So I'm
Awesome.
looking forward to it for year two. But this is I was a solo traveler last year, but since I didn't have far to go, it didn't feel like much.
Yeah.
This one is fully like feels more like I'm going on my own, but with the community that this network has, these podcasts and this network has built, it's like I'm not alone.
Yeah, and that was the whole reason why Patrick wanted to build Obsessed Fest was because of his care about the community and how much we love our listeners and we and other podcasters. So we wanted to just bring it all together. So we say it about every event, like you're never alone. Like even if you're coming alone, like logistically, you just meet people and everyone is so nice and I just love to watch people, make friends at our events.
I was personally blown away by how many people recognize me.
Yeah. I know, you're your own Obsessed Network celebrity.
I mean, well, I mean, we can thank Patrick for creating that lingo too.
Yes.
But I mean, yeah, it's just such a great experience. I can't. I'm so excited for you to. I am going to talk to you
Yes.
this
Yep.
time.
Come up, say hi to me. I will be there. Hopefully, I'll be more calm because we know what's happening. But I'm excited for year two. We have a bunch of new podcasters coming in addition to everyone returning from year one. So it's going to be really exciting.
So, why don't you go ahead and talk about how, like, your origin story and your how essentially you came to be where you are today.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm from Massachusetts, grew up there, and I went to school at UMass Amherst, studied communications, and the only thing I knew in life really was that I wanted to live in New York City. And I loved Broadway, and I was like, oh, maybe I could work in some, I didn't want to be a performer, but I thought I could work in the industry in some capacity. So after college, I heard that it was easier to get a job if you lived here. So I just decided to move here. And I was like, I'll give myself 3 months. I had about 3 months worth of savings that I could last. And it was kind of like throw myself into the deep end. I'm either going to make it or I'm not. So my first job was temping at a temp agency and there was no like artistic side to it, so I was pretty bored. So I was listening to the Theater People podcast, and some advice I'd been given in college is if you like someone or like what they're doing, just like reach out to them, even if it's not for a job, even if it's just for a coffee or something. And there was a posting on Playbill that Theater People podcast was looking for an audio engineer. And I thought to myself, I don't know how to do that, but I can Google it. Like that, I'm sure it's fine. So I reached out to Patrick and he responded, and we met up at a Starbucks. And Daisy was a baby, so he was holding her on his chest. And we didn't end up working together then, but he's like, let me help you find a great job in something you want to do. So we stayed in touch over the years. And I ended up interning with Today Tix, the theater ticketing company. And I was on their marketing team and we were looking for ideas. And Patrick reached out and said, do you think maybe they'd want to sponsor Theater People? So I brought it to the team and we ended up like using a promo code and it was a very successful partnership. So out of that, we ended up making Broadway Backstory, which was another Broadway podcast that we all still love to this day. It was a documentary style podcast about how shows went from an idea to a full fledged production. Um, so we did that. It was amazing. And then stayed in touch over the years. I ended up working for a Broadway advertising agency. I worked for Madison Square Garden. So I've been kind of all over the place. And then, like I said, Patrick called me during the pandemic and said, do you want to work for me? So here I am.
Well, is Broadway? How have you been a lifelong fan of Broadway?
Yes.
So
Yeah, I
yeah,
used to watch movie musicals with my grandfather a lot, so I just loved, like, Annie, and we watched The Sound of Music, and, once I got a little bit older, my aunt would take me to New York, and we would see Broadway shows, and so I just fell in love with it.
I mean, I like stuff like Grease,
Yeah,
and but I mean Broadway is not something you know when I like found like these like true crime obsessed and I think not, which was originally obsessed with disappeared, and all like the Broadway going on has definitely gotten me more into it in recent times.
yes.
But I've been like the most basic Broadway person. I guess you could say like I like Grease. I wanted to be Danny Zuko,
Yep.
but
I think we
I
all
mean that's
did.
about as far as it went for when I was younger. But it's
Yeah.
definitely something I've grown to appreciate more with people in this community. And I've never seen a Broadway show. It's definitely on my list when I can get
Yeah.
to New York.
Yeah, you should. I or even just go and see a local. Where are you based?
Akron, Ohio.
Okay.
I've we have community theater here, which I've was going to one time when they were having auditions for Clue in
Oh,
our
I love
theater here.
Clue. Mhm.
I was going to audition for that, but then I realized at the time, like, I'm not really going to have time to do this right now.
Yeah.
So, but it's something on always on the back of my mind, wanting to be a part of here, at least.
Yeah. Even just going to see a show and supporting local theater, and I think, one of my favorite things about theater is, um, I read this somewhere that a show, it can either be like a window or a mirror. Like, you're either looking into this fantastical story that, maybe doesn't relate to your life, or it's a mirror image and you see yourself in one of the characters. And either way, it's just so exciting to me, and I know Broadway and theater is not for everyone, but I don't think people sometimes realize the, vast range of theater and how, yes, there are musicals, but there are also plays and there's also these amazing, like, off Broadway shows. And just, I think there's a type of theater for everyone if people would just give it a chance.
Yeah, and well, I did do my high school play, if that counts.
Of course it counts. Yes.
Yeah, our high school play was called. I don't know if it was ever a Broadway or off Broadway thing ever, or off Broadway thing. It was called Toga Toga Toga. It was essentially a like rip off of Animal House in a way,
Oh, okay.
about like a like fraternity, and like there's a the big toga party is the big climactic moment. And I don't remember exactly how it went, but I played the antagonist in that play,
Oh,
which
okay.
I got to have a lot of fun with.
Yeah,
But
I've heard playing the villain is very fun.
yeah, but I mean, so I do have that experience. But
Yeah, I love it.
you know, yeah, but yeah, looking at your Instagram and living in New York, like there's a, there's a post on your Instagram of you with Chris Maloney, which is that
Yes.
was that planned, or did were you just like wandering down the street and they're filming Law and Order, or
No, well, first I gotta show you my shirt. Wearing my Elliot and Olivia shirt today, so you can
oh
see them,
wow,
which is my new favorite shirt. No, I will be the first to admit that I 100% stalk them, but only in the sense that, so what people don't know is when there's a lot of shows that film in New York, and when they're filming outside on the streets, they have to post notices all over the streets for parking reasons. So they'll say, nobody can park here from this day to this day. And so there's actually a Twitter account that will post when people will write into it when they see these posts. So it'll say some of them use pseudonyms. So I think, and just like that has a pseudonym, and some other ones do, but Law and Order will always just say Law and Order SVU filming, from Tuesday to Thursday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So it's very easy to find out where they are. I try to be respectful and obviously just go, and it's fun to watch them film. it's so interesting, especially when it's a big. I was the day I met Chris, they were filming a big scene and they had all these signs that had to say, this is not a real crime scene, where this is just a television show. So it's fun to film. And then he actually came wandering into the coffee shop I was in that day because we were all watching from a window and someone else approached him. So he was okay to take pictures and he was so nice. So that was definitely a thrill for me.
And yeah, I don't know what to say to that. Yeah, it's yeah, that's the perks of living in New York.
Yeah, because it's hard. People will say, "Oh, when I come to New York, I want to meet Ice-T or Chris Maloney," and I'm like, "You can't really plan it, though. These signs go up sometimes very last minute, and it's sort of just by chance." So there was one day I was legitimately walking home from work, and Cynthia Nixon was filming, and just like that, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, those shows were around." When I was a lot younger. So never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd be living in New York City while they're filming Sex in the City and while I'm seeing Chris Maloney and Mariska Hargitay together. So that's still I can't wrap my head around.
Working with the network, have you ever wanted to do podcasting yourself?
I've thought about it, only in the sense that my friend and I were talking about maybe starting a podcast about because we don't know. My mom and my brother are very into the Marvel movies and the superhero movies, and I just cannot get into those, but I would like to. So my friend and I kind of talked about starting a podcast where we go through the Marvel movies and discuss them as theater people who don't really know what these films are.
That's a Yeah, I want to do like podcasting myself. I have so many different ideas for podcasts.
Yeah.
Like, and I have the one I really want to do now is how you have the fascination with Broadway.
Yes.
This might sound odd, and for someone, I mean, I don't know like how you perceive me or how people perceive me, but I have a fascination with boy bands.
Oh, I love that.
So I have a podcast for like going through the stories of different boy bands and the history of boy bands. And
Oh, you should absolutely make that. I love that idea.
but I want a co-host, so I can't find
Oh
a co-host. But
my gosh, you got to post about it on social media. I'm sure you could find someone who. Do you want someone who knows boy bands or doesn't know anything about boy bands?
someone who kind of knows, like I have, someone who can just like tell the help me tell the story of them a little bit.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
um,
You should do it.
yeah, yeah, I gotta, yeah, I
Yeah, that's my
definitely
favorite
want
thing
to.
about podcasting is, people can just make their own podcasts and see what works and see what sticks.
I of course like want to do true crime, find a way to
Yes.
do true crime. I've tried it before, but like never had time to like stick with it.
Yeah,
Or
it's a
I've had
lot of work.
yeah, and I was doing them on my own, so it was kind of like a lot of work with like a full time job too. So it was kind of challenging, and I ended up letting those go.
Yeah, I think the one thing with podcasting, is especially with ours, we work very hard to make them sound so good and, well produced. And we want them to sound seamless. But then I think sometimes people don't realize how much work is actually going in behind the scenes just to make it sound like that.
Well, I mean, for me, just like doing talking about different cases, I had to do like all the research on it myself and like
Yeah.
read books, read news articles, try to like write them out, like
Yep.
my scripts out, and it just with a full time job was a little time consuming and challenging, and you know,
Yeah.
and some of the stuff like I did episodes about was kind of hard on the mental state.
Oh,
So,
100%. Yeah.
so it's But that's a great thing about these uh, true crime obsessed, and I think not. And even with Strange and Unexplained and Crimes of the Centuries, um, they're telling like these stories, but there's humor at they're able to add the element of you have people who can be appropriately funny with them. I'll say
Yeah.
because that I feel like that helps a little bit, and it helps to have a co-host too to
Yeah.
bounce off things off.
Definitely. No, it's always hard for me to describe what I do because I say true crime and comedy in the same sentence and people get a little freaked out, but, then I explain what it is and how, we're never making fun of the victims, we're always just making fun of, the way they're recreating these scenes or some of the characters you have with these talking heads in these documentaries, and it for me and for I know a lot of people, it is the easiest way to digest these stories is with a little bit of humor because they do get very dark.
Yeah. Well, I mean, despite what the reviews will still say about how these podcasts make light of it, even no matter how many times they say like, no, that's not what we're doing, you still will have the people taking it the wrong way. So nothing you can really do about that, but the audience you're meant to find gets it.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly. Yep.
so you're coming to me from the studio now. Is anyone in there with you?
Yeah, well, Steve's actually in the office today. He's
Oh,
doing some finance stuff, so he's here.
we not. I was wondering if we get any surprise cameos, but I love, I love that you're coming to me from there. It's
Yeah,
so
no, I wanted to go because it's very hot in the city right now, so I didn't wanna do it from my apartment where the AC's running and, we've had a lot of, like, construction and random noises, because I kinda live right in the Midtown area, so it gets very loud. So
so. Can you give the listeners a sort of like day in the life of the Obsessed Network studio
yeah, just for me or for everyone?
for you, or like how you see it?
Yeah, it's honestly every day is different. So depending on what's going on, but I would say my days always start with looking at the it's mainly if someone has recorded the night before because typically the host will record late afternoon or evening. So when I get in, I have to make sure I get all of the files that they recorded and get them over to the editors so we can stay on schedule. And then it's me looking at the all of the different production calendars saying, are we on track? Are we on time? Making seeing if there's any episodes to review, making sure they get over to the producers. So just like marking things off to say, are we on track? Because the priority is making sure that the shows happen and are released. Um, so from there, it's I have a daily to-do list that I run through based on what's the most urgent. So, we have Obsessed Fest coming up, so we're really working on that in terms of programming and connecting with all of the other podcasters to make sure that all happens. And then there's obviously a lot happening with Patrick's book right now. So it's going over that, planning for his book tour, the TCO tour. You know, merch is always happening. So we're planning merch. And um, it's just a lot of logistics, a lot of we have a new administrative assistant, Alyssa, who's been amazing. So, figuring out what she can help with. Some days are filled with meetings, some days are not. The days that Patrick records, we typically try to keep meeting free because he's spending the day noting for the episode. So, yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag. It's all over the place, but it's never a dull moment, honestly.
It seems like a dream job from like watching like Instagram stories and different social media posts.
Yeah,
It's like a dream job.
it is. I love what I do. We have the best time here. Every single person I work with is incredible, and Patrick and Steve are just the most generous people. And so we have a blast. We work hard, but I would say we play hard. We get to do a lot of fun things, travel so many places. So yeah, I couldn't imagine a better job.
I gotta put this forward. you and I talked about this in Dallas. I'm scared for this, but what are the chances of you and I doing karaoke together in Dallas?
I hope we can make it happen. I really do. I'm like I said, I'm managing all the programming and calendars now, so as long as my block is free when that happens, I would love that. I love to do karaoke. I love to sing.
I might have to have a few drinks in me. I used to do it like there was a like throughout my 20s there was, me and a group of friends like local places we'd go have a few drinks and do karaoke. It was like a weekly thing for us,
Yeah.
but I haven't done it in a while. And yeah, I mean, I'm staying the extra night so I'm not like rushing to check after the drag brunch,
Yep.
which will close out Sunday. I'm not rushing to check out of the room. Like I'm checking out Monday.
Oh, that's a good
So
idea.
even if there's like a place like Sunday night after everything winds, I don't know if you're staying the extra night or not, but like even something like that.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
got,
Like something more casual, casual
yeah,
karaoke.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's for us to determine that when the time comes.
Yes.
But I did
Yeah.
tell you the song we have picked. I mean, I personally picked out
Remind me
pick
again, it was was it the Rebo one?
the Reba with Vince Gill
Oh, yes. Yep, I do
because
love that song.
I think you put forth um anyone who wants to sing Reba with you.
Mhm.
So I'm I figured like that's the most obvious choice, even though I don't have the Vince Gill voice. I don't know how I'm gonna pull
I
off that.
It's okay. You just have to have fun with it.
Okay.
Yep. That's all.
It'll take like at least 5 beers, maybe a couple
Love
of
it.
shots of tequila. I don't know.
Yep, just a little liquid courage.
We can figure that out when the time comes. I'll learn the song either way.
You
So
should. Yeah, we're gonna try to make it happen. But yeah, if not, we'll just do like an impromptu singing situation somewhere.
you know what? I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Natalie. So yeah, I'm glad. I'm so glad I got to talk to you. I am definitely going to be less nervous this Obsessed Fest now.
Good. I'm
Good
so
talks.
glad. Good. Yeah. No, thank you so much for having me.
So yeah, this was wonderful. And if you ever want to join me on one of my podcast ideas, you're always invited.
Thank you so
It's all
much.
so if I mean, we'll talk about that whenever.
Yeah.
But
No, my plate's a little full right now, but
I
hopefully
understand.
one day soon.
Yeah, but yeah, this was definitely fun. And um, where can people follow you on different social medias?
Oh, that's a great question. I am at Nat Grills on Instagram. And then I believe I'm just Natalie Grillo on everything else. So, but yeah, give me a follow on Instagram. That's where I'm the most active.
Yeah, um, I definitely follow you on Instagram. I enjoy your TikTok,
Thank you.
even though the gotta talk about the recent one where you had to call out Patrick
I
for
did. I'm looking
the
up my TikTok
Marishka.
handle right now too. What am I? Oh yeah, I'm just at Natalie Grillo on TikTok. Yes, I had to call him out because I heard in the episode and saw on Facebook that he was trying to figure out how to pronounce Mariska Hargitay's name. And a lot of people do assume and say Mariska. And then for her last name, I think he was saying Haggerty, but that is my one of my biggest pet peeves, and the one thing I will correct people on is that her name is Mariska Hargitay. And if you follow my Instagram or TikTok, you will see the video proof of Mariska herself telling people how to pronounce it. So I had to call him out on that. he's still messing around when he posted his video response. So I think he'll stick to calling her Mariska Haggerty.
Oh, how dare he?
I know.
I mean, I love her. Love her like we all do, but I hate that every time I hear her name, it reminds me of the movie. Did you ever see The Love Guru?
No,
With
I
my,
didn't.
it's Mike. It's a horrible. It's a movie that it was Mike Myers. It was a character he was trying to make like another. It seemed like he was trying to make another Austin Powers type
Oh,
character and
okay.
have another. But the movie was so bad it tanked horribly.
Ugh.
But he was this like take on like this Middle Eastern like guru type.
Yep.
But his his way of greeting or like this peace be with you type greeting was Mariska Hargitay.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know that.
So he would go he would like go around to all the followers like Mariska Hargitay to you. And then the point in the movie he turns around and he says, Mariska Hargitay. Mariska Hargitay. And she's in the movie.
Oh, I love that. I'm gonna have to check it out. That's so fun.
The movie is terrible though.
Yeah, I'll just watch that one clip.
Yeah, you could probably YouTube it.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
like I mean I kind of wish that I didn't automatically think of that when I hear her name, but
Hey, as
you know,
long as you're saying it correctly, I'll take what I can get.
but all right, Natalie, thank you for joining me. This was a lot of fun. We powered through this
Yes.
wonderfully.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
And thank you for listening. Thank you everyone for listening, and I will talk to you again when I talk to you again. Bye everyone.